Leo floated through the endless black of space in his small exploration ship. Stars shimmered like distant candles, and the cold silence surrounded him. He had traveled far from known space, chasing rumors of uncharted sectors. Most humans avoided these areas. They said the region was cursed, filled with abandoned relics of old wars, and that alien creatures sometimes lurked in the shadows. Leo did not care. He was curious, and curiosity had always been stronger than fear. His sensors suddenly beeped, breaking the calm. He leaned forward, scanning the readings. There it was, buried among jagged asteroids, a massive object unlike anything he had ever seen. The ship was enormous, larger than any human vessel, and its shape was strange, almost organic, with sharp edges and glowing lines running along its hull. Dust and debris covered it, showing that it had been there for hundreds of years. Leo felt a chill of excitement. He had found something that others only whispered about. Legends spoke of a ship so powerful that entire fleets feared it. Most thought it was lost forever, hidden in deep space. And yet, here it was, silent but not dead. He carefully maneuvered his small ship closer, avoiding the shifting asteroids. The closer he got, the more he felt the hum of energy. It was faint, almost like a heartbeat. He had never experienced anything like it. His ship's sensors could barely make sense of the readings. The energy was immense, far beyond any human technology. Leo docked his ship at a secure point on the enormous hull. The docking clamps shook slightly as they locked in place, but the structure held. He prepared his suit and stepped out into the cold vacuum. His boots pressed against the alien metal, and he noticed symbols carved into the hull. They glowed faintly as if responding to his presence. He could not read them, but their rhythm made him feel like the ship was alive, watching him. He took a deep breath inside his helmet. The air in his lungs was the only reminder that he was human in front of something far older and greater. The entrance to the ship opened slowly, revealing a dark corridor. Light flickered inside, but it was enough for him to step in. He felt a strange vibration under his feet, almost like the ship recognized him. Inside, the corridors were vast. The walls were covered with unknown materials that shimmered when touched by his suit lights. Panels and consoles lined the sides, covered in alien symbols that moved like water. Leo reached out and pressed a panel. Immediately, a soft hum filled the corridor. Lights blinked on, and holographic displays floated above the consoles. The ship was waking. Leo's heart pounded. He knew he had found something dangerous, something no human had touched in centuries. He had to be careful. One wrong move could trigger defenses, and he had no backup. Yet he could not stop. The ship's energy called to him, a silent invitation he could not refuse. He walked deeper, reaching a central room filled with enormous screens and controls. The room seemed like a command center, but it was alive in a way he could not understand. The controls shifted when he approached, as if guiding his hands. He pressed another button, and a holographic map appeared, showing stars, planets, and what seemed like entire fleets from long ago. The ship was telling a story, showing him battles and journeys that had happened before. Leo realized this was no ordinary vessel. It was a warship, but unlike any human design. Its weapons and engines were beyond imagination. He could feel its power in his chest through the vibrations on the floor. The ship had slept for centuries, and now, it was beginning to awaken. He took a step back and studied it. There was a warning in the energy he felt. This ship could destroy worlds, yet it did not seem hostile. Instead, it seemed curious, like it wanted to know who he was and why a human had dared to board it. Leo smiled under his helmet. Humans were small, fragile, and untested, but maybe that was what the ship wanted. Maybe it needed someone clever and brave, not someone who ruled with fear. He continued exploring, touching the walls, studying the glowing symbols. Every step made the ship hum louder, almost like it was breathing. Leo felt a strange connection forming. It was not just metal and circuits. It was a living machine, ancient and powerful, waiting for someone to understand it. Leo realized that this moment could change everything. If he could learn from the ship, control it without angering it, he could travel farther than any human had ever gone. He could see wonders beyond imagination and face dangers no one else could survive. But he also knew that one wrong choice could awaken the ship's destructive power. Still, curiosity pushed him forward. Humans were explorers by nature, and Leo was no different. He was ready to step further into the ship, to awaken it fully, and discover the secrets it had hidden for centuries. The galaxy would not be the same after this discovery, and Leo felt the weight of that responsibility. The ship's hum grew stronger as he walked deeper, and a single thought came to his mind: he was no longer alone in space. Something old and powerful was watching, waiting, and perhaps, ready to choose him as its new pilot. Leo stepped further into the alien ship. The corridors twisted and turned in ways that made him feel both small and curious. The walls glowed softly, showing patterns that shifted when he moved. It was as if the ship itself was alive, observing every step he took. He felt a strange pulse in the air, like a heartbeat, growing stronger the deeper he walked. He reached a large chamber, wider than any human control room he had seen. At the center stood a console taller than him, covered in moving symbols. The ship's energy was stronger here, vibrating under his boots. Leo hesitated for a moment. He knew this was the heart of the ship. One wrong move could trigger defenses or alarms. He had no idea what the ship might do, but his curiosity pushed him forward. He placed his hands on the console. Immediately, the room responded. Lights flared along the walls, and holograms projected into the air. Stars, planets, and unknown fleets appeared, rotating slowly as if the ship was showing him a story. Leo realized these were records of battles and travels from long ago, events that had been erased from history. The ship was not just a machine. It was a living archive, a guardian of knowledge and power. As Leo touched the symbols, the ship vibrated in recognition. He felt energy flow through him, not harmful, but alive. It was as if the ship was testing him, sensing his mind, his courage, and his intentions. Leo focused, trying to understand. Slowly, the symbols began to form patterns he could comprehend. It was giving him control, but only if he proved he could handle it. Suddenly, the ship projected a figure in the air. It was not solid, but a shimmering outline of something humanoid. Leo stepped back, startled. The figure spoke, not in words, but in thoughts that entered his mind directly. It was calm, almost gentle, asking who he was and why he had come. Leo realized the ship had an intelligence, and it was alive. He answered honestly, telling it he was an explorer, curious and careful. The figure shifted slightly, like it was studying him. Then the ship reacted further. Systems across the chamber powered up, revealing weapons, engines, and shields. Leo could feel the immense strength contained within the ship. It could travel faster than anything human built, and its weapons could destroy entire fleets. But the energy felt disciplined, not chaotic. The ship waited for guidance, for someone who could balance power with wisdom. Leo moved closer to another console. Holographic schematics appeared, showing the ship's design in detail. He marveled at the complexity. The engines used energy far beyond anything humans had achieved. Weapons were precise, capable of targeting multiple enemies across vast distances. The hull was reinforced with materials that could withstand extreme conditions. The ship had been built to dominate space, yet it had remained dormant, waiting for someone it could trust. As he studied the controls, the ship tested him. Simulated threats appeared around him, holographic enemies that mimicked real attacks. Leo had to react quickly, moving consoles and pressing symbols in patterns that challenged his reflexes and reasoning. He dodged and adapted, showing skill and courage. The ship observed, then stopped the simulation. It was satisfied. Leo had passed its first test. A warm vibration spread through the room, and the figure appeared again. This time, the communication was clearer. It expressed trust, showing more of the ship's capabilities. Maps of distant sectors appeared, showing resources, hidden dangers, and abandoned worlds. Leo realized the ship could guide him through uncharted space safely. It was not just a weapon. It was a partner, a companion, and a guide. Leo felt a mixture of awe and responsibility. This ship could change the balance of power in the galaxy. In the wrong hands, it could destroy entire civilizations. But in his hands, it could explore, protect, and discover wonders no human had ever seen. He knew the bond forming between him and the ship was rare. It had chosen him, not because he was the strongest or the smartest, but because he was human and willing to respect its power. Hours passed as Leo continued to explore the chamber. He touched consoles, studied patterns, and learned to interact with the ship's intelligence. The vessel responded to his presence in ways no human could predict. Lights flowed with his movements, corridors shifted slightly to make travel easier, and energy hummed like it was alive. Leo realized he was not commanding the ship yet. Instead, he was forming a partnership, learning its rhythms and moods. Finally, he paused and looked around the chamber. The ship was awake. It was powerful, alive, and aware of him. And Leo understood that from this moment, nothing would ever be the same. He had awakened something ancient and dangerous, yet also wise and willing to guide him. The galaxy awaited, and together, human and ship would step into unknown worlds, facing challenges and adventures beyond imagination. Leo felt a spark of excitement and determination. He had found more than a ship. He had found a companion, a force, and a challenge that would test his courage and wisdom. The awakening was only the beginning, and the story of a human and the galaxy's most dangerous ship was about to unfold. Leo spent the next hours learning the ship's systems. Every console he touched, every symbol he activated, seemed to respond to him. The ship was alive, but it was also cautious. It wanted to know if Leo could think, react, and make decisions under pressure. The last thing it needed was a careless pilot. Suddenly, the ship created a simulation in the room. Holographic projections filled the chamber, showing star systems under attack. Alien fleets, ships with glowing weapons, and massive explosions moved around him as if the battles were real. Leo realized the ship was testing him. He had to act quickly to protect the planets in the simulation, or the holographic worlds would be destroyed. He touched the console, moving holographic shields to block incoming fire. He calculated trajectories and guided energy beams to deflect attacks. The simulation grew more difficult. Multiple enemies attacked at once, forcing him to think faster than ever before. His hands moved over the controls instinctively, guided partly by the ship, partly by his own skill. The ship's intelligence spoke to him silently, sending thoughts directly into his mind. It asked questions, not in words but in ideas. Would he risk himself to save lives? Would he follow logic even when it seemed dangerous? Leo responded instinctively, making choices that balanced risk and strategy. The holographic attacks intensified, and he felt a rush of fear. But he did not hesitate. Humans had faced impossible odds before, and he would not fail now. After what seemed like hours, the simulation ended. The holograms vanished, leaving Leo in the quiet chamber. The ship's energy pulsed gently, showing satisfaction. It had tested him not just for skill, but for courage and judgment. Leo realized this was only the beginning. The ship was teaching him how to think like it did, how to anticipate dangers and respond without hesitation. The ship then projected a map of distant sectors. It highlighted areas of interest, abandoned space stations, derelict ships, and mysterious planets. Leo could see potential threats and opportunities. The ship wanted him to plan a route, to make decisions that required strategy and care. For the first time, he felt like he was truly a part of something greater. Leo studied the map. He chose a small, uninhabited planet as the first destination. He wanted to test the ship in real space, not just in simulations. The ship seemed to agree. Its engines hummed louder, and energy flowed through the corridors as if it were preparing for the journey. Leo activated the main controls, and the ship responded instantly. The hum became a roar as it lifted off the asteroid field and moved into open space. As they traveled, Leo noticed the ship reacting to obstacles before he even saw them. Asteroids shifted, energy fields adjusted, and the ship's shields strengthened automatically. It was as if the vessel could think ahead, anticipating danger and protecting them both. Leo felt a mixture of awe and respect. He was not commanding a machine. He was partnering with a living intelligence, and every decision mattered. During the journey, the ship projected a vision. Leo saw fleets from long ago, civilizations destroyed by war, and planets wiped out by those who misused power. The images were vivid, almost real. He felt the weight of responsibility. This ship could do what no other vessel could. It could protect or destroy entire worlds. The thought made him cautious, but he also felt determination. He would not let fear control him. He would use the ship's power wisely. Leo spent the next hours learning the ship's capabilities. He discovered engines that could bend space for faster travel, weapons that could disable ships without killing crews, and shields that could withstand almost any attack. The ship allowed him to experiment, but always with guidance. Every success, every correct choice, strengthened the bond between them. The ship was slowly teaching him to think like it did, to anticipate threats, and to act decisively. By the time they reached the small planet, Leo felt different. He was no longer just an explorer. He was a pilot who had earned the trust of a vessel far older and more powerful than anything human built. He had passed the first real test. The ship's intelligence communicated approval, and Leo felt a sense of partnership he had never experienced before. He stepped into the planet's orbit, looking down at the surface. It was calm, uninhabited, but full of potential for study. He smiled. The ship had tested him, and he had passed. But he knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy held many dangers, and soon, other beings would learn of the ship's awakening. He would need courage, intelligence, and patience to face what was coming. For now, Leo felt ready. He had awakened the galaxy's most dangerous ship, and he was learning to control it. Together, they would explore, protect, and face challenges beyond imagination. The test had ended, but the journey had only just begun. Leo had barely begun to understand the ship when the sensors began to beep urgently. Red lights flashed across the control panels, and the ship's hum became tense. He leaned forward, scanning the readings. Multiple fleets were approaching, moving fast and organized. These were not random travelers or explorers. They were armed, disciplined, and dangerous. Alien forces had learned that the ship had awakened. Leo felt a chill. He had expected curiosity from the galaxy, but not aggression. The legends of the ship's power were real. Now, those who had feared or coveted it were coming to claim it. He realized that he was no longer exploring. He was at the center of a conflict that could decide the balance of power in space. The ship seemed to sense his concern. Energy flowed through the corridors, and lights pulsed in rhythm with its awareness. Holographic projections appeared, showing the enemy ships in detail. Leo could see their formations, weapons, and possible strategies. The ship was offering guidance, but it left the choices to him. It trusted him, but it expected him to act. Leo made a quick decision. He would not run. The ship was too powerful to hide, and the attackers would find them eventually. Instead, he would use strategy, intelligence, and the ship's abilities to protect themselves and avoid unnecessary destruction. He activated the ship's defensive systems and engines, preparing for evasive maneuvers. The first wave of enemy ships appeared on the horizon, small but fast. Leo guided the ship, dodging lasers and energy blasts. The vessel moved with incredible speed, twisting and turning through asteroid fields while its shields absorbed minor impacts. The attackers were skilled, but the ship seemed one step ahead, anticipating their moves. Leo felt the bond between them grow stronger. The ship was alive, responding to his commands while guiding him with its own intelligence. As they moved through space, larger enemy ships joined the chase. These vessels were heavily armed, capable of causing massive damage. Leo realized that brute force would not win this fight. He had to outthink them, using the ship's advanced systems to stay ahead. Cloaking mechanisms activated, energy fields shifted, and the ship's engines bent space to create sudden jumps. Each move was calculated, precise, and effective. The aliens became frustrated. Their attacks grew bolder, their formations tighter. Leo studied their patterns, recognizing weaknesses in their strategy. He used decoys, holographic projections, and sudden maneuvers to confuse them. Every action required both courage and intelligence. He felt a rush of excitement, knowing that humans were capable of matching even the most advanced alien fleets when armed with the right tools and determination. Hours passed in tense pursuit. Leo and the ship moved like a single being, anticipating danger, avoiding attacks, and striking when necessary. The ship's weapons remained largely dormant, not because it could not fight, but because Leo chose strategy over destruction. He wanted to survive without causing unnecessary harm. The ship seemed to respect this decision, offering support while holding back its full power until it was truly needed. Finally, the enemy began to retreat. Their formations were broken, morale shaken, and Leo realized they underestimated both human ingenuity and the ship's intelligence. He felt a quiet satisfaction. This was the first real test of their partnership, and they had passed. The galaxy would remember that humans were not weak or passive. Leo took a deep breath. The danger had passed for now, but he knew it would not end here. Word of the awakened ship would spread quickly. More fleets would come, more challenges would arise, and he would have to face them all. Yet he felt ready. He had the ship, and the ship had him. Together, they could face any threat. As the stars stretched past the viewport, Leo realized something important. The ship was not just a tool or a weapon. It was a partner, alive and aware, capable of incredible power but guided by intelligence and caution. And humans, despite their small size and limited technology, could rise to meet even the greatest challenges if they combined courage, strategy, and morality. Leo adjusted the controls, setting a course for a nearby system where he could study the ship further. He wanted to understand every system, every mechanism, and every defensive measure. The galaxy was dangerous, but knowledge was the greatest advantage a human could have. The ship responded, its hum calm again, ready to follow and protect as they moved forward. For the first time, Leo smiled fully. He had awakened the galaxy's most dangerous ship, faced the first wave of threats, and survived. He had proven that humans could not only awaken great power but also handle it wisely. And he knew that the adventures ahead would test both him and the ship in ways no one could imagine. The galaxy had noticed. A human had claimed the galaxy's most dangerous ship, and the story of their power and courage was only beginning. Leo leaned over the controls as the enemy fleets regrouped. The red blips on the sensors multiplied. They were faster now, spreading out to cut off escape routes. He felt the tension building, but he stayed calm. Fear would slow him. Strategy and focus would save him. The ship's energy pulsed beneath him, almost like it knew his thoughts, ready to act with him. He adjusted the engines and initiated a sudden jump, bending space to leap ahead. Stars stretched and twisted, and when the ship reappeared, they were farther from the closest enemy ships. The sudden movement confused the attackers. They tried to anticipate his path, but the ship's intelligence always stayed one step ahead. Leo grinned. The galaxy's most dangerous ship was a partner, not just a tool. The alien fleet split, trying to surround him. Leo analyzed the situation quickly. Using the ship's cloaking system, he dived into a dense asteroid field. Massive rocks floated in random patterns, dangerous to any ship, but the alien fleets hesitated. The ship guided him expertly, adjusting shields and engines to slip through narrow gaps. Blasts from enemy weapons hit asteroids instead of the hull. Leo felt a rush of excitement. He realized that his human intuition, combined with the ship's precision, made them unstoppable. Suddenly, one of the larger alien ships appeared directly ahead, blocking the path. Its weapons charged with deadly energy. Leo did not panic. He activated a diversion system. Holographic projections of the ship appeared on all sides, creating multiple targets. The enemy fired, but the blasts hit illusions, leaving Leo and the ship unharmed. He quickly twisted the controls, accelerating through a narrow corridor in the asteroid field. The ship moved like a living creature, twisting and turning in perfect harmony with him. The fleet did not give up. Smaller ships began flanking from different angles, trying to trap them. Leo studied the formations and found patterns in their attacks. He realized that the aliens relied on brute force and numbers. Strategy would win. He activated the ship's engines to maximum power, using sudden bursts to shift direction unpredictably. The enemies collided with each other and with asteroids, giving Leo time to escape. Hours passed as the chase continued. Leo pushed the ship, testing its limits, while the vessel adapted instantly. Shields absorbed impacts from space debris, engines bent space to increase speed, and weapon systems remained on standby. Leo did not want unnecessary destruction, but he knew that if needed, the ship could defend itself fully. Every maneuver taught him more about the ship's capabilities and intelligence. During a brief pause in the chase, Leo studied the holographic maps. The alien fleets were relentless but predictable when patterns were observed. He plotted a path through a nebula, a dense cloud of gas and energy that would confuse sensors. As they entered the swirling clouds, the ship's shields adjusted automatically to prevent damage. The alien sensors struggled to track them, and Leo smiled. Humans were not the fastest, strongest, or most advanced species, but creativity, intelligence, and courage could level the playing field. The ship seemed to sense Leo's confidence. Its energy pulsed in response, calm but ready. Holographic symbols appeared, guiding him through the safest paths while showing potential threats. Leo realized that the ship was not just a weapon or a vehicle. It was alive, aware, and willing to trust a human to make decisions. He felt a deep respect and bond forming. This was not just survival. This was partnership. As they neared the edge of the nebula, the fleets began to regroup again. Leo knew the chase would not end easily. He had to be ready for more challenges, stronger and smarter each time. He adjusted the ship's course to a nearby uncharted system, planning to hide briefly and study the ship further. The ship responded instantly, adjusting its engines and shields to prepare for any sudden attacks. Leo took a deep breath. He felt exhilarated. The chase had tested him, but it had also shown him what humans could do when courage and intelligence met extraordinary technology. He realized that the galaxy had underestimated his species. Humans might be small and fragile compared to other civilizations, but they were clever, brave, and adaptable. He glanced at the glowing panels, feeling the ship's energy flow like a heartbeat. They had survived the chase together, and he knew more challenges awaited. The galaxy was vast, filled with unknown dangers, but Leo felt ready. With the ship at his side, he could face anything. Together, they would explore, protect, and fight when necessary. Leo smiled. The chase was only the beginning. The galaxy's most dangerous ship had awakened, and now a human would guide it through the stars. Their story was just beginning, and the universe would soon see that humans were capable of remarkable courage and wisdom. Leo floated in the command chamber of the massive ship, watching the stars streak past as they traveled to a quiet system for safety. The galaxy had noticed the awakening of this powerful vessel. He knew the fleets pursuing him would return, stronger and smarter. But now, he faced a different challenge, one that no simulation or chase could prepare him for. The ship's energy pulsed gently around him. It had grown quiet since the chase, but Leo sensed a question in its presence. It was waiting for him to make a choice. He understood immediately what that choice meant. The ship's full power could dominate entire star systems. It could destroy enemy fleets with a single command, erase planets, or conquer civilizations. It was tempting. Many beings in the galaxy would kill for this opportunity. But Leo knew that power was dangerous. He took a deep breath. The ship communicated with him silently, showing visions of what could happen if its power were misused. Civilizations destroyed, planets burned, and life wiped out. He felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. Humans were small, but their decisions mattered. He thought of his own people, fragile and curious, exploring the stars with courage and hope. Could he use this power wisely, or would temptation change him? Leo closed his eyes for a moment, recalling all he had learned from the ship. He remembered the simulations, the chase through the asteroid fields, and the nebula maneuvers. Every time, the ship had tested him, watched his decisions, and guided him. Now it was showing him the ultimate test: would he choose conquest, fear, or protection? He opened his eyes and touched the console. The ship's energy responded immediately, pulsing stronger. Holograms appeared, showing possible futures. One path displayed entire fleets bowing to him, planets under his control, and alien civilizations fearing his power. Another path showed worlds destroyed by careless decisions, and humans lost to corruption. The last path showed harmony, protection, and knowledge shared across the galaxy. Leo knew the answer in his heart. "I will protect," he said aloud, though the ship heard his thoughts as well. "I will use your power to help life, to explore, and to keep the galaxy safe. Not to conquer, not to destroy." The ship vibrated, almost like a sigh of relief. Lights glowed brighter, energy flowing like water through the corridors. Leo felt the connection deepen. The ship had not just been testing him for skill or courage. It had been searching for someone who could wield its power with wisdom. He had chosen correctly. With the choice made, Leo began to study the galaxy from the ship's perspective. Holographic maps projected systems under threat, planets in need, and civilizations at risk. He realized that this vessel was not only a weapon, but also a guardian. It could reach places humans could never go and prevent disasters that would otherwise destroy life. The galaxy needed a protector, and now, he and the ship could be that force. Suddenly, a fleet appeared on the sensors, larger and more organized than any before. Leo felt the tension return, but he did not panic. He had made his choice, and the ship would act in harmony with him. Together, they activated cloaking systems, evasive maneuvers, and defensive shields. Unlike before, Leo did not aim to destroy the enemy. Instead, he guided them away from populated systems, diverting attacks and creating safe paths. The fleet realized they could not reach him without risking themselves and eventually withdrew. Leo smiled. This was the difference between power used for fear and power used for wisdom. The galaxy feared humans because they underestimated them. But humans had courage, intelligence, and morality. They could rise to meet challenges that no other species could. He understood that the ship had chosen him not just for skill, but for heart. Hours later, Leo studied distant star systems. He could see opportunities for exploration, trade, and protection. The ship responded with energy patterns that encouraged careful planning and observation. Leo realized the responsibility of their choice. With great power came great duty. He would need patience, intelligence, and courage for every decision. The galaxy would test him, and he would have to rise to the challenge. Leo felt a new sense of purpose. He was no longer just an explorer drifting through unknown space. He was a guardian, partnered with the galaxy's most dangerous ship. Together, they would face threats, discover mysteries, and protect life where others could not. He knew challenges were coming, but he also knew that humans were capable of extraordinary deeds when guided by morality and courage. As he gazed through the viewport at the distant stars, Leo made a silent promise. He would not misuse the ship. He would respect its power, learn its secrets, and act as a protector of life across the galaxy. The choice had been made, but the journey was only beginning. Together, human and ship would rise above fear, danger, and the unknown. The galaxy would never forget them. Leo floated in the command chamber, watching distant stars pass by as the ship moved through space. The galaxy was quiet for now, but he knew the peace would not last forever. News of the ship's awakening had already begun to spread, and soon other civilizations would take notice. He felt the weight of responsibility, but he also felt ready. He was not alone. The ship was with him, alive and aware, and together they were stronger than any fleet in the galaxy. He studied the holographic maps projected in the chamber. They showed systems in danger, planets with unrest, and civilizations vulnerable to attack. The ship pulsed in response, guiding him with subtle movements and energy flows. Leo realized that this vessel was not just a weapon. It was a partner, a guardian capable of saving countless lives if used wisely. Humans had never controlled such power before, but now he could. The first test of their partnership came sooner than expected. A distress signal appeared from a distant colony. Its defenses had failed, and enemy ships were closing in fast. Leo took a deep breath. He had faced threats before, but this was different. This time, his decisions would decide the fate of innocent lives. He activated the ship's engines and weapons, moving with precision and care. As they approached the colony, the enemy fired relentlessly. Leo guided the ship, using advanced maneuvers to avoid the attacks while positioning the vessel to defend the colonists. Holographic projections from the ship showed weak points in the enemy formation. He struck carefully, disabling weapons without harming the crews. The alien forces were taken by surprise, unable to understand how a single human and one ship could outmaneuver entire fleets. Within moments, the enemy retreated, leaving the colony unharmed. Leo breathed a sigh of relief. The colonists would live to rebuild, and the galaxy had witnessed a new kind of power. One that did not destroy recklessly, but protected and preserved life. The ship pulsed gently, almost like a quiet celebration. Leo smiled. Together, they had proven that humans could rise above fear, greed, and violence when guided by courage and wisdom. In the following weeks, Leo and the ship traveled through uncharted sectors. They intervened in conflicts, prevented disasters, and explored planets untouched by other civilizations. Each mission strengthened their bond. The ship's intelligence responded to Leo's thoughts, guiding him, teaching him, and adapting to his decisions. Leo learned not just to control the ship, but to understand it. He learned patience, strategy, and the responsibility that came with such immense power. Word of their actions began to spread across star systems. Some feared them, calling them a dangerous combination of human and machine. Others admired them, seeing hope in the galaxy for the first time in centuries. Leo realized that humans had been underestimated for too long. They were small and fragile, yet clever, brave, and adaptable. With courage and morality, they could achieve what no other species could. One day, while observing a newly discovered planet, Leo paused to reflect. He had started as an explorer, curious and cautious, searching for something lost in space. He had found the galaxy's most dangerous ship and learned to awaken its power. He had faced fleets, survived chases, passed tests, and made choices that could have destroyed entire civilizations. And now, he was a guardian, guiding a force capable of both immense creation and destruction. He looked at the ship's control panels, feeling the rhythm of its energy. It was alive, aware, and ready to act at a moment's notice. Yet it trusted him. He understood that trust was the most important bond of all. The ship could have chosen anyone, but it had chosen him. And he would honor that choice by using its power wisely, for protection, for exploration, and for the good of life across the galaxy. Leo set a course for the outer sectors, where new challenges awaited. He knew that threats would return, and new ones would arise. But he felt confident. With courage, intelligence, and the ship at his side, he could face any danger. Together, human and ship would navigate the stars, defend life, and inspire civilizations to believe in what was possible. As the stars stretched past the viewport, Leo made a promise to himself and to the ship. They would act as guardians, protectors, and explorers. They would show the galaxy that humans, despite their small size and simple beginnings, could rise above fear and danger. They could wield power responsibly and shape the future with courage and wisdom. The galaxy had changed forever. A human had awakened the most dangerous ship and chosen the path of protection, not conquest. And in doing so, Leo had become more than an explorer. He had become a guardian, a symbol of hope, and a reminder that humans could achieve greatness when courage, intelligence, and morality guided them. Leo leaned back in his chair, watching the stars. The journey was far from over, but he felt ready. Together, they would face whatever lay ahead. The galaxy was vast and full of wonders and dangers, but he knew one truth: humans, with courage and wisdom, could rise to meet any challenge. The ship's hum echoed softly, a heartbeat in the quiet of space, and Leo knew that they were ready to face the future together.